Aroma Freedom was developed by a clinical psychologist named Benjamin Purkis. I was fortunate to study under him while I was getting my certification as a practitioner. It's a gentle process, a gentle guided process where we use pure therapeutic essential oils to let our olfactory system connect to our limbic system. Because think about it. When you smell cookies, it might remind you of your grandmother. There's a direct connection between the olfactory and our brain. And what happens is when we go through a guided process and smell certain specific therapeutic grade essential oils, as we're reflecting on certain memories, what it does is it opens up this possibility for memory reconsolidation. And memory reconsolidation is when we're basically rewiring our brain and saying, these thoughts and emotions that go in along with this memory don't make sense. They never really did make sense, and we've carried this burden with us sometimes for years, but now we're forming more of an explicit mismatch. And one of the things that I discussed with Dr. Purkis was this notion of the necessity with our population, those who have gone through infidelity and all the trauma, that trauma we went through months and sometimes longer, some people have gone through, it makes it very hard to let go of these negative thoughts and feelings through a more natural process prescribed by Aroma Freedom, where they just kind of naturally dissolve. So in digging into the research a bit and confirmed by Dr. Purkis that for tough cases, we need to have this explicit mismatch. So I'm going to ask you at the beginning of a session to write down all of your positives, all the positives that you can think about yourself that others would say about you. Because so much of what's happening is it's a chiseling away of our self-worth. And that's what comes from a lot of these memories. And we just don't feel worthy. We don't feel like we can move on. It affects our professional life. It affects our personal life. It affects our ability to find new partners. So the guided process of Aroma Freedom, there are actually a couple different approaches. One is we can go directly to the memories, and I've found that going directly to these negative memories can be kind of tough. The other is the Aroma Freedom technique, where we are focusing on a goal. And the goal that I like to focus on with Betrayed is that when we have these memories of the infidelity, of the awful experiences during recovery, rather than having all of these awful thoughts and feelings, we're going to focus on our positives and those positive emotions that we have when doing so. Now, we may have to go several rounds, because what happens is at first it sounds very difficult, and someone might rate their probability of being able to do that like a 4 out of 10. But what happens then is we go through some iterations and we think about, what's that negative voice? What are the negative thoughts getting in the way, putting us at a 4 out of 10? And then you say, well, I've had this for so long, and then you have an opportunity to reflect on a memory where you've had that same thought. But at this point, you're breathing in these pure therapeutic grade oils, relaxing your limbic system, and then you glance down at your positives. And what's happening when you glance down at your positives while you're doing this, then those negative thoughts are battling against those positives. You've created this explicit mismatch. And that explicit mismatch is exactly what's needed for memory reconsolidation, because then your brain is going to start realizing, hey, this doesn't make sense. What we're hanging on to here really isn't the truth. And when confronted with the truth and relaxing with these essential oils, very specific ones, then there's this opportunity to basically dissolve away these negative thoughts and feelings. And it could be pretty miraculous. So what can you expect? Well, you can expect anything from moving the needle a little bit, making progress over several sessions, to what happens to some is it can be really nearly miraculous, where you just clear out, all of these negatives and feelings and emotions very, very quickly. Now, what's most likely? What's most likely is you move the needle, and we'll do several sessions. We'll do maybe a couple group sessions per week, and by the end of a month, you might find that you can reflect on these memories, because the memories never go away. It's not like we're making the memories disappear. The memories are still there, but rather than reflecting on that memory and it being extremely painful, we reflect on it, and it's just kind of like, well, I'll use best language I can, like, what the heck? What the heck was that? Wow, he or she was a pretty messed up person to do that, but it really had nothing to do with me, because I've got all these strengths. I've got all these positives. So imagine how nice that'll be.